have Litecoin on here? Do I have? Hi friends, welcome to the show. I'm going to do a Litecoin video, a bonus video, so you can join me for it. And what I do in these videos, by the way, if you're new to the family and you haven't seen any of this before, is I do daily technical analysis for Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Tezos, and I also do bonus coins quite a bit of the time. Oh, I'm interested in the SPY, by the way, at the minute, as we go in here and set in all-time highs. Has that happened yet? Is it done? Is it done? Have we done that today? 33908. Oh, this is the bonus coin. This is the Litecoin bonus coin video. Just doing this though, real quick as I check SPY. It's an ETF on the S&P. Oh, did we come up and just put an equal? Oh, we put it in by 1 cent. Did we do it by 1 cent? All-time high by 1 cent. Time to drop off. Is it? I don't know. Have I measured that wrong? I've measured it wrong, haven't I? Have I? Oh, let me know. Oh, let me know. Let me know because I should move on. Let me know in the comments down below. Interesting. Is it interesting? You tell me. You tell me. Pandemic. So is it going to become academic at this point during this pandemic or not? Let's go. Right, Litecoin. Clearly, I don't seem to have it on my favorites list, right? You can hit that subscribe button, LTCUSD, if you want to see more videos. I would really appreciate it. Shall we go with Coinbase? Oh, I do have it. LTC. Yeah, I've got two. All right, cool, great. Make them a more obvious color so I can see it next time I go looking for it. Let's call it orange. Right. Great. Thanks so much for tuning in. Really do appreciate it. I know that the intro took way too long there, but you could have skipped it. What have we got at the minute? 66.66. Oh, quality. All the sixes. Nice one. So the dollar price at the minute is 6666. The Bitcoin price at the minute is 0.0055. 55 milli Bitcoins per Liechtenstein coin. By the way, I call it Liechtenstein coin. I always have. It's just because it's LTC. Just like how I call other things. Let me see, since we're all over the place. Like the Norwegian krona. By the way, I call that the North Korean dollar in my head because it's NOK. I just do, various, you've got to stay entertained, by the way. And sometimes some people have little sort of idiosyncrasies like that. And that's what I do. So if you ever see me talk about the North Korean dollar or the Liechtenstein coin, then you know what I'm talking about when I talk about Liechtenstein dollars. Litecoin. So looking at the tops here on this thing, this is good. We've come up higher than we were in the past, but we've come up lower. So there's a touch of the little bearish divergence. That's going to be the first thing that I'll point out for anybody. Of course, what I've got when I'm talking about this thing is because somebody, people have been saying to me it's ready to pop. Interestingly enough, we have come up to these highs, and that's higher than our previous high. That's very good as part of an overall upward trend, and that's very, very good. And this is, of course, versus the dollar, obviously, and we've gone up to $68. When were we at $70 and stuff? When was that happening? That was February? What were price? Were $81 then? Obviously, I've looked at this in the past, not too distant past. That was a good move up past all of that. So far, we've come up to a couple of things. So we've come up to the golden pocket zone. Should we stick it on there properly? Let's just stick it on here properly. Golden pocket. I think if I just remove that, hopefully when I took up the options thing there, it didn't reset my options. And I've got, yeah, cool. So I've already got it on here. That's just quicker and easier. That'll do. Perfect. That'll do. No, it won't do. Sorry, excuse me. Delay. Waster. So where have we come up to in terms of all this? Well, we've come up to the golden pocket where we had that high, sunk back down again, moved on up above it again, and we're actually being supported in and around about that zone, actually being supported by the 21 EMA. Not doing badly at all, really not, but there is the bearish divergence that's there on the RSI, the DMI, and just on the, well, we had bearish divergence here in the run up to that point, and then from that point to where we are now, we don't have bearish divergence, incidentally. Kind of threw off the shackles, burnt it off during this downward move. That's interesting. Let's take a look at this Fibonacci retracement. Normally as well, when I do these bonus coin episodes, I do try to stick with a sort of format on them so that you would know, so that they're kind of digestible, but we're all over the place today and it's okay. Anyway, by the way, shout out to Tony who asked for this one. I'm moving this, by the way, as well, people were talking about this, I'm moving the whole bonus coin request feature over to members only in the future. I don't know when I'm going to do that. I'll talk about it in the Discord with people beforehand. Obviously, join that Discord, by the way, everybody. So if we're just looking between the sort of the lows that we had and the highs over here, now why have I chosen that low? That was a sign of this most important sort of swing low in the run up before we had the high coming in there. Congratulations to anybody who bought in at 39.18. Bearing in mind, of course, that or whatever that was at this 236 Fibonacci, a retest of that zone. We had a couple of these along the way, and that was offering up a really good buy zone for people to get in at over there on the 27th of June. Since then, we've almost 100%ed the price. Nice. Actually, not 100%, but another tip that I got given by the guy who requested this video, but hold shift and hold shift. Aha. Brilliant. Okay, cool. So hold shift, click it, let go of it all, and there you've got your ruler. How handy is that? So a nice 30% increase in the price, very solid increase in the price of what has to be considered, by the way, where we are still as being in an overall downward trend. Now, crazy, back off, Rocky. What are you saying? Well, unlike the other coin, this is 24-hour coin, this is a 24-hour chart for Litecoin here, and you can see that we've got a high, a low, lower high, a lower low, and so far a lower high on here. Now, if I go over to the Bitcoin chart, for instance, you can see this is the CME chart, that structure doesn't quite match up, although of course it rhymes, and this is still lower. This is the high that we're at the minute is lower than the high that we had over there in the 24th of June, etc. on this spot price chart and on the CME chart here as well. So like just looking between them. And you can see the structure of this very similar in terms of the lows and the highs and the low following on from that afterwards. That looking down the way, actually, this is still very much lower than not only the highs from June, but also the highs that we had in February. So we've still not managed to recover up to those prices of the $80 area. And that is what comes down to people saying, like Tony himself, I'm sure, whether or not he put this sort of narrative together himself or not, when he talks about how this could pop. Look at this. This is the 24-hour time frame. The 24-hour time frame is a really good one for what, you might ask. Well, it's a really good one for looking at the golden cross. Reminder to people that there's various times people will talk about the golden cross happening, but they don't necessarily point out the fact that it's actually just the 50 simple and the 200 simple crossing on the daily time frame. That's what is that name of that thing. If you want to be specific, I want to be down in your South Seas. Anyway, Bloodhound Gang. So yeah, looking at this golden cross over here. So we want to circle that in as well. Golden cross, lovely. Bearish divergence. What happens when you have a golden cross quite often actually is that you get a pullback to retest one or both of these moving averages. Now, when would this happen? Not necessarily in a hurry. Maybe this is confusing to people having these different colors on here like that. But if I were to make that one, was that red? That was red, yeah. And make this one white. Then at least if I come back to here and leave these drawings on, at least I'll know what I was talking about. Extend. If this were to happen, I think that white one's probably going up far too fast there overall on that. Can I stretch it? Nah. But if you were to have this happen overall, then what could happen is could be a test of these prices. It could be a test of these things. You have to watch out for them. That's always something to be wary about when you have a golden cross happen. But let it be known that let it be known that this is, of course, a bullish trend identifier. When things are in golden cross conditions, as I would refer to it, then you've got then you know that the prices are trading above that the moving averages have moved above above each other, regardless of where they're trading at that particular moment. Although that's the way that these things will work out. So that's good, as in like we're in death cross conditions still, trading below the 200, yet we're above the 50s, kind of what I'm talking about there. So overall here we're in that mode. Could we revisit it? Yes, we could. Do we need to do it straight away? No, we don't. What do we have on the way to look out for these targets? Well, for instance, $62.18 where the 236 is, the 382 coming in there at 57.78, the 50% in there at 54.25, and the golden pockets is my precious coming in there at at 50. at 50 buckaroos. So if you were to go down to those areas and then close down below them, then of course then you'd be asking certain questions about where the 200 simple is, or indeed if the if we've crossed both of them at that point in that juncture, and whether or not we'd have an uncrossing have happened and all the rest of it. And then you'd be looking at this and saying, oh my God. And if this were to be a canary in the coal mine, either it's going to pop, Tony, you're right, oops, either it's going to pop, right? Great, cool. Either it's going to pop, or we see something like it crash completely and it go down to the 1618 down here at 20 bucks and 57 pence, signaling an actual turnaround overall in the entire market. Perhaps having seen the traditional markets also crash down from where they are, up at these highs. Now, of course, this could go on and this could fly, my pretty monkey friends. It could all the way up to the 400 buck area, which would be your next macro target, quite possibly on this thing, if you're looking at it from that perspective. And over here on the DGIA, then you could be, this is the index. Then you're looking up here towards having not come up to our all-time highs yet. So we've still got a ways to go on this one. Would we come in and fill in these gaps? We've got this gap on the left-hand side filled in, but it's actually recreated another gap over here at the 26K area to be aware of. If you were to look at that, I'm not going to look at any other country's economy because the American one seems to be what it's pegged to. So, you'd be looking at that. If we had a turnaround in all those markets, would we see this? I've lost it again. Where are you, Liechtenstein? Come back. Would you see that happen? Would you? So what else do we have here as well that we could look at right now? I think I've done a pretty good job covering this off. If we do go to the top side where our target's then 77 bucks would be the next one. These lines I've got drawn in historically from the last time I looked at this, can't remember when it was. I think this was on the channel. I'm just going to go with these. I believe in myself for now, and the historical validity of these things just now. We'll call that 86 bucks as being our upside target. Well, actually, we'll call it 85 really. So you've got 77, 75, 85, 90, and yeah. Then afterwards, $100, whatever. If this were to go up and do what Bitcoin's just done, $100, I think, is got to be your target towards the top side. If you're to look at this as being a sort of a lagging behind Bitcoin fractal bullshit thing like that, of course, the bullshit word refers specifically to the word fractal. But in terms of conceptually, breaking past these points of our previous highs along the way would be very bullish, and that's what we can look to. If I hit the back button, then that's what we could look to. Breaking past these previous highs would be very bullish. The previous highs as well, coming in at. Just looking at that 85 number being very, very important for us in terms of that. Okay, cool. What about the Bitcoin pricing though? Because there's more to life than thingamajig. Oh wait, no. What about the divergences? Did we talk about this yet? Did I? I did. I started off the show talking about the bearish divergence that's clearly showing up on the daily time frame there on that one. Want to see on the low time frames? Still there. Not on the MACD. Is that right? Sort of class B, you could call it, right? Class B on the MACD is on the other things. Pretty clear. Let's go with the Bitcoin pricing then and see if it's the same setup. Yeah, well, the bearish divergence is still there. It's still there, even in the micro sort of between the last two sort of peaks where we start finding the prices right now. It's also there. This is largely going to be determined as well by the price of Bitcoin itself and how Bitcoin moves against the dollar, as much as how Litecoin moves against the dollar. Now, bear in mind that a positive move up to those 85 areas, which would be a huge increase in price. Say the prices went up to $100, you're looking at a 50% increase in price. Okay, from where we are now. If they go up towards the $80, big old wacky dacky and move up, right? Okay, so massive amounts of profit to be made. Don't be too greedy on it, by the way, ever. What's the need? Where's the need? Tell me the need. Let me know in the comments down below where the need is to be greedy. I'm interested to know. I don't find myself being greedy that often. Maybe that's to my benefit. I don't know. Am I missing out on something? I'm not scared about it though. I'm certainly not. I don't have any fear of missing out on greed. But if you think that I should be experiencing FOMO on greed, definitely let me know down below. I'd be interested to hear all about it. Looking up to 55k is obviously or 550 0.055. What do you want to call it? what is that? 554,118 Satoshis. Is that what that is? 555k is going to be a very important area for us where we are right now. Movements beyond this area could be quite good in the face of the bearish divergence. Sure, would look out for a pullback of some shape or size or description. What have we had in the recent past in terms of the bearish divergence just kind of playing out from these two in the stochastics and the DMI and potentially MACD or whatever just there? What have we had anyway in terms of movements down the way? Then you're looking at 5.57%. You know, that's hardly killing anybody out there. Of course, highly leveraged people are getting whack jobbed by that, but you got to look out for it. We're in an upward trend here. Do we have any hidden bullish divergence? Doesn't look like we've got any hidden bullish divergence on the go during this upward trend, peoples. And we do have some bearish divergence. The MACD is not showing that at the minute. Wonder if this could wedge out a little bit. If this goes in for a subsequent high to where we are just now, for instance, and then actually comes in and wedges, and what we're looking at here is maybe even the start of a wedge just now, for instance, then perhaps, you know, you're looking at this and saying that this is going to actually start showing that it potentially, just in the way that the pricing generally sort of works on these things, something to look out for. Perhaps, potentially, there's various different ways of drawing this thing in. You could also have this just simply as a channel, like we so often speak about on the show. There's a gestalt nature to these things. If this was to be the most bearish, or, you know, an ascending, broadening wedge, would be like a bearish continuation pattern for the overall bearish trend. You know, you wouldn't want that. You wouldn't want any ascending wedge type scenario, right? Because this would be a reversal type rising wedge thing for, you know, perhaps a potential measured move towards the downside. So if you were to do that, then what you're looking at would be down towards the 4950k area. So, you know, there's potentials for 490k, 500,000, 500,000 Satoshis, if that's where you're looking for a re-entry on this thing as part of an overall upward trend. You know, that could be okay, just bearing in mind that you've got these divergences, and I'm not a financial advisor, none of this is financial advice, and there'd be things that you could do in the meantime anyway as well. There's key areas to look out for, not least of which is going to have to come in where do we want to draw it in from? We could draw it from down here up to this area, which puts the 236 in at 531k. Of course we could, but we could also actually just draw in from, say, the previous lows down here, which is part of this green candle ultimately, up towards the highs over here, which brings it in at 530k as well. If you want to kind of look at it slightly differently, then you could put it into in these lows, which puts it in at 530k, you know, these lows, 530k, and over here at 530k. So maybe you're thinking to yourself that 530k might be a decent area to enter, having gone down to 527k as the part of today's price action move towards the top side, coming up as high as the 55k, 554,000 that we're at the minute. Maybe you're satisfied with that anyway, but movements down below that area are obviously going to be significant. So we could even, to the point where we could even look to a few targets down below if we wanted to. Do we want to draw in body to body just for the crack? Let's draw in body to body for the crack. So 530k we're going to call. Then movements down below there, closes on decent sized time frames such as like the 4 hour or higher or bigger. You're looking at 520,000, 510,000, and then 490,000, and that all ties in with and 500k with everything we've spoken about before, including a measured move off the back of this thing. If that were to happen at any point along the way, upward side targets just staying within it, bringing it up towards 571,000. Movements outside of this area and actually sort of breaking it towards the top side, which could always happen, could bring you up towards 600,000, which would be something to look out for. Obviously, bringing you back into where we have a lot more price action from before. And overall, if we were to come in here and put in a cup with handle or something on the way up, that might be something to look out for. Have we already done that? You could maybe make that argument along the way, but all of these have been greater than 50% sort of the body of this thing retraces, you know, on terms of this. So the handle doesn't quite work on that front. The volume profile is not quite so right either. But maybe in a broader perspective, we'll see something like that happen, like say on the 24-hour time frame. If that were to be the case, was it? No, I don't know. That's kind of a bit ugly for that. I would say that that's not the case. But anyway, movements up towards that area bring us right back into that area where clearly moving down below it was a massively traumatic event for people in the past. Looking at this 70,000 area, for instance, where the prices came down to a couple of times, and then came up and found resistance at, in there, in that sort of zone. So anyway, all good stuff. I think there's a lot of good value to be taken away from this episode for people, especially if you're new to the channel and you haven't looked at it before. Now, I understand there's a couple of things that you'll be wanting to say in the comments down below, such as, oh, you're speaking a bit too quickly for me, man, and stuff like that. Believe me, you'll get used to it. It's no problem. The person who suggested this video, for instance, watched one of my videos the other day at 2 times speed. Can you believe it? We lolled about this in the Discord. If you want to join in there, you're more than welcome. So just so you know, there's that element of things, but I will try in time over time to speak more clearly. Cool. There's other things you might want to say, such as, you're amazing. Thanks so much for that. I would really appreciate it if you did say that. It would be cool as F. But what I really want to see is you saying thanks, or not thanks. What I want to see is you saying is, I subbed because we have a 1,500 subscriber target for September. Can we get to 1,500 subscribers? Do you think this channel deserves 1,500 subscribers? And do you want to be a part of that story? Whether that's you telling a friend to subscribe or you subscribing yourself or whatever else, I would be massively grateful if the answer to that was yes. If you want to be a part of that story and I'm inviting you to do so, I would appreciate it. Looking at other little things as well, will we see a little head and shoulders here in the stochastics? Or the RSI? Is that possible? And on the DMI and stuff like that, are these things possible? Well, they are. So you can look out for that. But at any rate, I'll just leave this for now, and I'm looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are. Of course, I would like to say, as an underlining to everything, that overall the market's in an uptrend, and that's somewhat behind. This is something somewhat lagging behind, in a sense, and that as we displayed with the comparison to Bitcoin there. And if you were to look at that, then of course there is that big chunk up towards the top side, which is what Tony was referring to. Pardon me, when he said he thought it could pop. So, that's the poppies. And I think then, I suppose I can temper that side of things, which is quite self-explanatory, I think, in a sense, with everything else that we've looked at in terms of just throwing out a couple of ideas there that might not have occurred to you otherwise. Who knows? Hopefully there's some value for you in it. I'll catch you next time. I'm back again every day this week. I'm working for you guys on a weekday basis these days, taking the weekend off, maybe come back for one of the weekdays over the weekend. And if you want to suggest any coins for me to take a look at in the future, then go ahead and become a member. Hit that join button down below if that's what you're looking for. Of course, you don't have to. I'd appreciate you just hitting the subscribe button, join the Discord, and again, meet people. By the way, I'm not the center of attention in the Discord. Everybody else is. You're the center of attention in the Discord. In fact, you'll find when you go along there, because that's the culture that we have. We don't actually, nobody puts me up on no pedestal. I just want to be, the best representative of all of you that I can be, and help as we all move towards becoming self-reliant independent traders and all that sort of stuff. Now, of course, I'm already there, but I'm trying to put kind of lean back into the abyss and give you a hand up, and hopefully then you feel the benefit of that without me actually having to lay out for you exact specific signals to look for, although in many ways I have done in this video. So yes, thanks so much for tuning in. I'll see you next time. I've been Rocky Outcrop. I'll be Rocky Outcrop when I come back again. YouTube.com/Rocky Outcrop to share it with your friends. Check out the channel. Let me know what you think. And I'm looking forward to reading your comments down below. See you next time.